We're here.
We are. We are.
Trying to find something funny to talk about that's of interest other than dumb things that I might do once in a while.
Well, if we're going to go on that, then yeah.
Like I have a pair of outdoor pants, camos, that I bought at Fort. What's the Fort? Fort Pickett?
Over in Blackstone?
No. What's the other one in Peters? Near
Fort Lee?
Is it Fort Lee?
I think it was.
They haven't changed that name
No,
yet?
they've changed that name, but I don't know the new
Okay. I
names,
mean,
and I
Fort
don't
Pickett
care.
is
They're
barefoot, and I don't know.
We're not going,
But
anyway.
those are kind of funny. Anyway, I bought a bunch of
Barfoot.
I bought some.
It's supposed to be a really good guy, but still.
Yep, I looked it up. But why do we have to change? So I bought some camel pants, like 2 or 3 pairs to wear around. And one pair I just wear outside, and I spray it with insect spray. You know, what is it? Promiscuous, which are supposed to be like deadly if you don't touch it. You know, I refuse to wash those pants because they're covered with insect spray and the bugs don't like it. So that's about the funniest topic I can think of. You know?
Well, I was trying to think of something really hilarious, and I was like, I don't know.
There's nothing really funny that's happened in the world, except some people don't know about Starlink. They're really out of space.
I know you talk to some people because my husband has been so happy with it and everything. Of course, when people talk, he's been telling them now about it, and they're like, what is that? And he's like, you don't know Starlink? And
the next question
of course, he would tell you he's not the most tech savvy. Yeah. But I mean, for him to know it and like it, and he probably wouldn't have known it if my son and I hadn't known it. But I'd been looking it up and checking it out, and then my son and them got it, and then other people we knew. So, it probably would not have been on my husband's radar. But I mean, we've been talking about it so much, and he's been looking at it, and now that we have it, but it's still amazing to him that he thought he was the last person on earth that didn't know about it. But
no, there were 2 ladies yesterday at Bible study, and they said, we have horrible internet. I'm like, oh, have you ever heard? We can't get anything. I'm like, you can get Starlink. What's Starlink? I do. Elon Musk? Oh, yeah. Starlink. They're writing these notes down. I'm trying to explain to them. How hard is it? I said, it's very easy. You get this little, put it out. So, yes, poor people. And I don't really know how we got onto Starlink, except my husband was probably trying to find internet that was better than what we had, and that's how it came up. And he read it, and, he said, okay, so we signed up for it early on. And then we told friends, and ironically, they got it before we did, but they were in the beta testing, Now, if you look at the map, United States, there's only a couple little dark grays. One is in West Virginia, and I think there's one little one in Wyoming. So they're probably really mountainous areas that they don't have coverage. According to somebody who told my husband, if you go outside on a really clear night, you can see a chain of the satellites.
You can.
Did you see moving?
Yes, you see them moving. It's a little chain. It really is pretty cool.
Ooh.
It is.
I thought they were just looking at Orion's belt.
No, I mean, it moves. I mean, because we were standing out at my son's house one night, and it was like, we saw this and was like, what is that? And we were talking about how it had to be, it must have been those, but it's really cool to watch.
I mean, I've watched satellites going across the sky and polar satellites and the polar circumference going around the poles, north and south. Kind of cool. And then you've seen them.
I don't know how I would know if it was a satellite or I would think it was a star, or I don't know.
No, you would know. It's not a plane because, the plane you can see the lights, but it's up there and they move pretty quickly. They gallop along. It's kind of fun because you see them.
Are they certain times of the year or something?
No, they're always circling around.
So how would I know it?
You just have to sit in a hot tub and look up at the stars.
Oh, well, then that's a reason for me to get a hot tub.
You convince your husband we need a hot tub because I want to look at the satellites. And if you were up north in a hot tub, on any given day, you could have it snow right above your head. Because all that little moisture that comes up from the hot tub would condense. And if it's cold enough, you'll get snow and you'll be just snowing over your head. So you get a snow job.
Very interesting.
Those are about the funniest topics I can think of.
Well, one I can think of. Do we want to do the heavy first and then end? I mean, and do our next one funny?
Okay,
or,
yeah.
Because
Well,
it is a heavy time right
it's
now.
a heavy time. It's a sad time.
Economically.
Oh my gosh.
But right now, the biggest thing is Israel and what is going on over there. And I was just listening to, because I'm trying to keep up on it.
I try to, yes, and it's not one of the happy things we
No.
want, but we need to.
No, we do need to. And my understanding is right now, I mean, other countries are trying to get their people out, and we haven't done anything yet
Well,
to get our people.
One of the ladies in our exercise, who's pretty well versed in the Bible and stuff, this is a crazy time and a very tenuous time for humanity, I really think.
It is. But I still, in my gut, something's not right, because there's no way Israel didn't know they were there. I mean, I just can't imagine. For some reason, in the back of my little mind and gut, because they have better people than we do.
Oh my, their intelligence is,
because they're always having to be protected. How did these people sneak over and sneak in without even being? I just can't fathom it. I can't. That is really, it's one of the things bugging me. But
well, we were talking about gaslighting. It's the same type of thing. I guess you could do it in a larger group of people. If you could convince them that you are innocent and you are above board, I guess you could do it. I don't know. It's sad to think that we've gotten to this point. We're so cruel to one another. We're just so cruel. And where does that cruelty come from? What is the whole premise of all of that? You've got something that I want. You've got the land that I want.
Well, and they think they deserve, I guess, yes. But see, to me, it's so much more, because none of the Middle Eastern countries like Israel.
Oh no.
So I mean, it's more. I mean, Egypt doesn't like. I mean, so nobody. I mean, is it just because the land is that great, or because they've got the mark of God on them? And Satan does not like God.
Well, go back to where they all came from. They all came from the same genetic makeup. The two brothers. I mean,
same father.
Same father. You were the chosen people. You chose not to be the chosen people.
Well, the chosen people didn't come though until to Jacob, correct? But Jacob was Isaac's son, and Isaac was Abraham's
son.
So
but
I mean,
Abraham
you still have
was
the same grandpa.
You
don't have the same grandma, but you got the same grandpa.
I just don't understand how you can do that. It just bewilders me. That's what bothers me, and the atrocities.
Well, a lot of these people are just pure terrorists. Pure terrorists. I mean, because they will use kids, females, anybody as a human shield. I mean, that's just pure terrorists. That's just pure evil. So it's not, I don't even feel like some of this is about that part of it. I just feel like some of it is just, they can't stand Israel. They don't like them. They think they're a blight. I mean, we've got people over here in America celebrating.
Oh.
And that just, I mean, to want to be in America, Americans, we accept anybody that comes legally. I mean,
you're right.
So anybody that comes in illegally and does it, we accept. Now, yes, we do expect you to assimilate into our culture and into our things. Now you can have your communities. You
Yes.
can do your
Yes.
things because I mean, there's Little Italy, I know, and
Chinatown.
Chinatown, and various of the big cities. They all have their little factions.
Can I call you back? Okay. Okay.
And this is how you know it's live, people.
That's when a child calls, doesn't matter. You got to just say, unless it's emergency, call you back. We are in touch with our kids.
Try to be, yes.
We try to be. I mean, I talked to
yes,
my son this morning. I haven't chatted with your son lately, but I got to ask him about his life. And that's kind of funny. We can talk about young people like yesterday with the soccer and stuff. And I go back to Satan. There's evil.
It's just, some of it is just pure evil because they want them wiped off. So, I mean, like I said, you know, over here in America, and so for you to be cheering on that somebody and having celebrations while you're on American soil, celebrating that somebody is,
Even Americans have been.
yes, dying, yes, yes. I mean, and getting their heads cut off, and children are being raped and everything, then that's evil to me also. Because I don't care.
I'm sure they didn't ask, are you Jewish and Israeli or are you Christian? Do you think they even cared? Because they don't like us either.
No. I mean, people do not understand in America what it's like to live in other countries. We do not understand that. You do not have the threat of walking down your sidewalk, and because you do not perform the way or look the way somebody should. I mean, in America, I mean, men and women can hug and kiss in public. You can't do that in public. I mean, in America, whether I like it or not, men and men, women and women can walk down the street.
Yes.
And I mean, but in these foreign countries, they can't do that. And in a lot of foreign countries, especially in the Middle East, the women have to be covered.
Oh, you can't even go out. The women, and this was in Afghanistan, I forget, a book was titled The Seamstress Daughter. And she actually became a diplomat, an ambassador for her country. And I've got to see if I can find that book. Very interesting book. True story, modern, where all of a sudden, the Taliban took over. And her whole family, even though she had, her sisters had been educated and everything, they could no longer do what they had been, maybe it's Iran, what they used to do. And literally the father and the older brothers left because they were in danger, because they had belonged to the previous government as soldiers. So they had to sort of leave and go to another country. I think they went to Pakistan. And now they have one young son and the women in no livelihood. So they actually started a sewing seamstress so they could to sell these things. And they started selling them to the Taliban women, and they would make dresses, and that's how they survived. It's this, I believe it's called The Seamstress Daughter. Excellent book. How these women survived, but it was very dangerous. They could not go out on the road or the streets without this young teenage son with them, brother with them. You couldn't be caught. Because if you were, you would get beaten.
Well, I think about those countries. I think about China. There are so many places that, I mean, we just do not get it, how blessed we are to live in a free America. But freedom has its cost, and freedom does not mean that you can just go
and do whatever. No,
it's not. You cannot infringe upon somebody else's rights through your freedom.
You've given up. What are the major things you want? You want a home, you want food, you want shelter, food, you want a mate, you want a job.
And you don't want people in your business 24/7 telling you how to do stuff.
No.
That's why I don't like the government in my stuff. I don't think the government should be dictating to me what temperature I need to leave my house on. I don't think they need to dictate to me, when I can and can't go outside or what I can do. And I just don't feel like I just do not want that in my life.
And we shouldn't. Well, we are not really a democracy. We are a republic.
We're a republic. We're not a democracy.
Right.
We do get that mixed up because
Yes. People just think, oh, yes. No, it's not a free-for-all. When I took poli-science, it's kind of interesting because, it could be a free-for-all like the Old West. Shootouts here and shootouts there. But when we formed this republic, we have our a Bill of Rights. These are your rights that you have under this republic. And by having that Bill of Rights, it doesn't mean that, oh yeah, you can go out and do this, this, and that. You don't have all those freedoms. You give up the right to go covet your neighbor's property. You don't go over there and shoot them and take over the property. You've given up that right. So there's some things that you give up, but in the meantime, you're protected by your republic. And your Bill of Rights are there. That's there.
One of the things that I love the most is our freedom of speech.
And if you take that,
they're trying to silence, but freedom of speech is wonderful. I mean, we do not understand being able just to speak out and make jokes, even like if our president falls and stuff, or if we can't get a sentence out,
or if he doesn't know where to leave the stage, which direction.
I mean, there are things that in other countries you cannot do.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just the freedom to disagree in public with somebody else, the freedom to, and that's what we try to encourage is free thinking. Think for yourself.
Observe, assess, and use those oars. Really.
My husband and I mean, we don't totally agree on everything, but we find common ground on some things because, it's just, but I mean, that's what's wonderful. I mean, if you're totally around people that you totally agree with 100% of the time,
boring.
It is a little boring. Yeah, you should be able to, the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. So, you should be able to help each other. And because it might be that you point out something to me that makes me go research something or go look up, or that maybe it's a seed that then later on God is going to see. Maybe you need to think about this.
Yes, exactly.
But I don't want to be around every single person that totally agrees with me. Of course, we would love it because it's like, there are some people, we would like everybody to just be on our every.
And yes, and compromise is important. I'm dealing with some issues, not of my own issues, but, other issues of other things that I have a strange life, folks. It's like, okay, what other thing do I want to do now? I want to make an air harp, but I don't think I have time for that. Anyway, trying to get a compromise. I got a lot of hot air, so I need an air harp. That's a whole other story. Look it up. It's interesting. Air harps. So, trying to get people to compromise. And I discovered something the other day, why one person doesn't want to compromise. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, well, that's a little selfish. Not me, but why they didn't want to compromise. And we're dealing about a half hour worth of time. You understand? And on the grand scheme of things, folks, if that half hour is good for a larger group of people who need that half hour, then we can sacrifice a half hour for that one or two people.
Well, you do have to look at the compromise, because there's some things you should never compromise your principles.
Oh no, I'm not.
That should never be a compromise.
I'm not changing my moral standards to lower myself to you.
No. So if you have a moral compass, never compromise on it. But other things, yes, there may be, it's like, okay.
It's a give or take.
Yes, it is.
And
because every week we always check with each other's schedule.
We do.
I mean, it's like, no, I've got cats to take to the vet, or I've got this and I've got that. And it's like, I've only got this. Okay, well, let's try to
And
see if we can make that
you
work.
have no idea. We're up early.
Oh, very early, yes.
And you know, I think I'm going to text her. I'm like, oh, I don't want to bother her this early. And then I'll go over and think, oh, yep, she's
she
there.
doesn't realize I'm always at work. I'm already at work by then.
At 5:30?
Mm-hmm.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, I'm at the office usually about 5:30. I usually, when I check in on the computer the next morning, it's like, your last login was 5:32 yesterday or whatever.
When do you sleep?
That's a compromise.
We could have a whole
Maybe
funny
I sleep at work. I don't know.
funny story about sleeping. I'm a person. I have to have my sleep. Anyways, that'll be sleep. We got some fun stuff we can talk about. Now you just bring that up, like fun stuff. But the serious stuff is this world is. I'm going to use Mushugana. Crazy, out of control. Okay, and I don't know where we're headed.
A lot of people don't, and none of us can tell. None of us know exactly where we're headed. But but you've got to think about this from a bigger picture, people.
Oh, big.
Because we're already involved in a conflict in
one
Ukraine.
place. Mm-hmm.
And then we ourselves do not have any stored up like oil and gas.
No,
and
because we've used it all up.
Or we've cut off pipelines and
we just don't want to. Yeah.
Yes, for whatever reason.
It's like we shot one toe, let's go and shoot the other one.
And then I know there are people saying that the money that was given to Iran for the prisoners was not going to be used for this. It was going to be used for Band-Aids and health aid. But you cannot trust Iran. And we should not have even given any, but that's a whole nother story. But no, so we should not have given them money. So we've got money in this. But the Middle East does not like us either.
No.
And so if we go into another conflict, which I'm standing with Israel.
Me too.
I'm standing with Israel. That's me. But when we go into a conflict with Israel, we will be cut off from the Middle East and its supply of oil and gas and everything else.
And there's not enough sunlight up there, folks, to run all these electric stuff that you have. I made a comment too. I think I mentioned to you yesterday when we were working the concession stand. If I were younger, I'd be over there helping them, the Israelis, you know. But the most I can do is say a lot of prayers, and
no, because that is a region that is yes, we need to pray for the people. We need to pray for the Americans that are trapped over there right now. We need to pray that our government will do better about getting our people out than what they did, getting our people out of
Ukraine.
I know is it Iraq? I mean, where we just
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Iraq.
When did
Afghanistan. When we pulled out and left everything.
When we pulled out and left everything and
Iraq.
So, I mean,
Duh.
we need to, and if right now we don't even have a plan, then yes. And so,
I'm hoping our military has a plan.
But it's led by a man that can't tell what day it is. He's the military leader, so.
Yeah, well, let's hope somebody has got some. We have on our coast in Virginia Beach, we have the Oceana, and the flying over our house, and I think they come out of North Carolina. We usually have 2 jets. They will come, sometimes 1, most often 2. Yesterday there were 4. So those of us who are sitting here in rural Virginia may not know what's going on in the rest of, like, say, Virginia Beach, but they fly over us. And when they increase the numbers flying over us, that's an indicator of something that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, somebody mentioned at the exercise that there's a ship leaving out of Norfolk.
Yeah, supposedly we're heading over that way. So once we get involved,
we are involved.
Then, and which, like I said, standing with Israel is the main thing. But when you do that, then you're making the choice. And just know that the Middle East is not going to like it.
And there's some of those people here who do not like us.
No, and we do not know how many people have crossed the border. People, they have caught so many people that have crossed over that were on a watch list. But there's a lot more people. We don't know how many sleeper cells are sitting in America right now.
And there's several communities. One is really close in Virginia that has been on a watch list for years. And that's
They're
not far away
They're
from us.
everywhere.
That's
And then
not
you
far
have
away.
the ones, the Americans that have been turned.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You've got Americans that have been turned to
I
be
don't-
with these. I don't either. And if you don't like this place, then leave.
Go back. Go wherever
Go
you'd like to
wherever
go.
it is you want to be, but
And
don't
just-
come over here.
Don't.
It's there's, like I said, this was a heavy topic, but you know, people need to be aware, because it's like somebody was saying on the radio today, I heard, is that if we do get cut off from the Middle East, then you're definitely looking at $10 a gallon in gas.
Unless he opens up the pipelines and lets us start drilling again. And it's still going to take time.
It's going to take time to build up
It's
the
going
reserve.
to take time because
you're going into the winter season. You're going into the winter season of using this stuff. So people do not. Things affect us.
Before every depression and I mentioned this at exercise, war delays depression. Because you have to build up your economy, you got to start producing weaponry, you got to do it. It kicks you out of a depression because you have to ramp everything up. Look at history. When you have wars, your economy starts to boost up. Of course, the way our economy and everything, it works on energy. If you don't have the energy, you can't do anything. There's not enough wind power, solar power to do that. And you can burn fossil fuels cleanly. It's not something that is dirty anymore. We've advanced to the point where the emissions are clean. What is wrong? They don't observe, assess, and react to situations at all, do they? They just explode, or they don't think with the thing between their ears, if it exists.
And we are just going to get ready and cut us off in a minute because we've really gone over, but this was an important topic. But we'll try to do something fun this next one. Okay, we got a couple of things on our radar. So anyway, just be aware and be alert and just
Yes.
Don't worry. God's in control.
Pray.